Hello there, blade fans, and welcome back to This Old Sword Blade Reviews. This Old Sword here with you. And I have a knife today that was designed in part by a fellow content creator on YouTube. And that has happened a few times, but not that often. This knife, the TS329, was co-designed by Love Them Knives and Max Tkachuk, a Ukrainian knife designer of much renown for a lot of TwoSun knives, as well as, I think, concept and Klubi. So here we have a massive button-locking titanium handled M390 folder, and the box was a gentleman by the name of Lee, who I believe you all know, Love Them Knives, is verified M390, and this is called the Vandal. Vandals generally deface and destroy things, and I don't know, but it's called the Vandal. Vandal. It is a beautiful knife. Now, Lee likes his knives large, as he'll tell you on his channel, and this is no exception. If I had an opportunity to design a knife, I think I would design a large one as well. We have titanium milled and kind of stonewashed and darkened, as you can see. Have a stonewashed blade, kind of a light stonewash, and a fuller there, which we're going to discuss in a moment. There's your button, and there is your button action right there, and it does swing freely on bearings, as far as I know. I don't think it's on washers. Beautiful clip. A small ball bearing there, ceramic ball, helps it go in and out of the pocket pretty nicely. And for a titanium clip, pretty deep carry. Look at the centering on that guy. Another thing that Love Them Knives likes in watching his reviews is plenty of blade to handle size ratio. So look, you cannot come out any further than that without sticking your finger. And speaking of that, that point is well protected from you accidentally cutting yourself with your finger or your thumb. Okay, so let's do the measurements first. Get those out of the way. It is a big one, and it is a little more than 9 1/4. Gotta squeeze it in. 9 1/4 overall, like 9 3/8 maybe. It is exactly a 4-inch blade to the handle, and slightly less to a 3 3/4 cutting edge. The blade in millimeters, blade stock, 3.8. Handle thickness, it is thick, 0.65 we're going to call that. And it is not going to be a lightweight. Let's get it on the scale. Is the scale ready? Yes, it is. No, it isn't. That's because of my pebbled surface here. Don't give me trouble. All right, I'm going to call that a 629, 6.29 ounces. Close enough. We know it's got some heft to it. We know it's got some thickness. As Lee says, if you want a small knife, don't get this knife. Now I have to say, I contacted him on a Saturday saying that I wanted one of these because he posted them on Instagram, said they were available, showed a case full of them. Forget how many he had, like 15 or more. And I said, okay, I want one. Price was $189 and it was shipped direct to me. I had it on Monday. I think he had a label sent out to me, tracking number within an hour. So I certainly have to give Love Them Knives credit for being extremely responsive. I don't get shipments that fast, even from White Mountain, and they're darn fast. So kudos to Lee for getting this knife out to me so quickly. Now, a couple of things, and you've seen other reviews on this already, I'm sure. I was a little late. I was kind of waiting on this. Now, Lee will tell you that some of these have a easy detent and some of them have a hard detent. This one happens to be the latter. I am unable to release this blade with my thumb. One thing I notice, and others have noticed as well, and I'm not picking on the designers, okay? Designing your first knife, which I've never done, is daunting, particularly folders and not fixed blades, because everything has to fit together and function correctly. Now, the strength of the detent on a button lock is usually controlled by the button. And there's a spring, if I can get a little light on here. There is a spring, blast it with light. There, about that much. There's a spring underneath the button on the far side of the handle, the clip side of the handle. That determines the strength. It also keeps that knife open and locked without back pressure defeating the lock. So that's a good thing. However, when it's closed, that button, that outer rim of that plunge lock fitting into the tang of the blade and that groove is what holds it in place. Now, you can feel the amount of pressure that this is requiring to open. It is a strong detent. Now, what others have done is disassembled the knife, compressed the spring with some pliers, and made it a little weaker. Probably in retrospect, the designers would have gone back and made some changes, and maybe in future editions they will. You need a sharp shoulder on the fuller in order to get the right amount of purchase. Now, that time I did it. So it's a little inconsistent there, because your thumb tends to slide off on that. Okay, but you can dig it right in, and it is freeing up and getting a little easier. I expect it'll break in as these parts polish up and the bearing surfaces improve a little bit. I think it's going to be better. Am I worried about it? No, because I really don't mind doing that. I'm an Elementum guy. That's a joke. We all know about the Civivi Elementum. Had no means of flipping it open or using a thumb stud or anything to open it. It's strictly a gravity knife situation, and that's not legal in many places. So if you could open this for somebody by pinching it or by using two hands, if you don't want to frighten them, that's easily done. Okay? But I have no problems doing that. I mean, when I take the knife out of my pocket, my thumb's right there anyway. I mean, that's easier than almost anything. So I have no problems with it. It is a big blade with a little bit of a finger choil there so you can choke up. Nice jimping. I would say it's about aggressive enough. It's nicely done. Stonewash goes well with the handle. And let's look inside just a little bit where we can find some more information, because that's where the branding is going these days. Let me find that for you. So, not sure if you can see. I may not be able to put enough light in there. But right inside there is where you have the steel and the model and the maker's marks. Right inside there. So maybe you can see it, maybe you can't, but that's what TwoSun's doing these days. And there are certainly some other knife companies doing it as well, is putting all the info on the inside. So you will not see M390 on this blade. You will see TwoSun, and that is it. Let's take a look at it in comparison to a couple other button locks I have here. Here is the 313 designed by Night Morning, which came out ahead of the 329. It's a smaller knife, but fairly hefty, but not as heavy as the 329, the Vandal. This has a real interesting tanto shape to the blade, kind of a rhinoceros looking kind of a affair. No worries here opening it, because you do have massive thumb studs. And as I say, it's a shorter knife by a good amount, maybe a good 1.5 inches shorter overall. Here's another well-known button lock that came out recently. This is the Kaiser Begleiter Special Edition XL that was put out by White Mountain Knives. It's an Azo design. Let's take that one out, put this one here, and we've still got a bigger knife with the TS329 by maybe 1/2 inch. Let's stack them up like that so you can get a perspective on them all. Okay? Take the 313 out, take the Begleiter out, and let's throw it up against the Rat 1. Rat 1 is a small knife compared to this guy. And let's give you the full perspective. Right there, because I've got to use the point of the handle to line them up. Look at that. The Rat 1 is tiny by comparison, and so will be my usually compared Griptilian. Look at that. So, for you big knife lovers, if you can get your hands on one of these, get the fuzz off, I would recommend it. I think a $190 is not bad at all. Direct from the designer, if Lee still has some available. Aside from that one issue, which some people will take more exception to than others, you know, as far as using that groove, I mean, maybe it's a good knife for modding. A little bit of extra machining along that one ridge to give you a sharper, fuller would work. I'm not sure if there's room for a thumb stud or an opening hole, because you really don't have a lot of real estate there. Again, you know, I reviewed a Vero knife that Bob DeMarco had loaned out, and they put a very sharp fuller in there that you have no problems finger flicking open or using your thumb. And that's really all that needed to be done here. It's a little shallow, and it's rounded at the shoulders of that fuller. But again, could that be easier to open? No. So again, I have no problems. And also, your municipality, your town, your state may frown upon the fact that the knife can be opened with a button, but same thing is true here. That can be opened like that, and same thing is true here. Can be opened the same way. Well, that's all I got for you today. I am happy to have this in-house. Hope you liked the review. Don't forget to give it a like and subscribe. Be back with you soon.